Okay, here we are with Ferguson Jenkins, one of my great pals who's been on our show a long time at the Baltimore Convention Center. Fergie, how are you enjoying yourself so far today?
Excellent. There's a lot of guys that I played against. A lot of guys with Cincinnati are here. Rose, Bench, Morgan, Perez, and Gaylord Perry with San Francisco. But it's fun seeing some of the guys.
All those guys you just mentioned, besides Gaylord Perry, who was the toughest out of those Cincinnati Reds machines, would you say it would be for you?
At one time, Tony Perez. I mean, he was a great breaking ball hitter. You could get ahead of him in the count. I mean, try to put him away. He'd always come up with a hit to right field or up the middle. He was just a tough competitor.
Tony Perez, I can remember in the World Series when Bill Lee, the spaceman, threw that blooper pitch and he knocked it for a base hit. I guess it was the Red Sox. And I forget who hit Tony Perez hit the ball over there.
And he hit a blooper, he hit it for a home run.
Yeah, right. That was this Red machine, I think it was 75 the World Series was. Fergie, you had a celebrated career, 287 wins, 6 years in a row winning 20 or more games. It's almost, if you did that today, you might own this whole place. How special was the years that you played in baseball, winning 20 games, 6 consecutive rows, then go to Texas, win 25 games? It's like an unbelievable thing. How did you do all that? How great were you? And what type of hard work did you have to do all that?
Well, you had to be in good shape, and that's what I tried to do. And spring training was starting probably late January and February, probably in Scottsdale, Arizona with the Cubs. I think the only way you can do it is to get in good shape. The teammates that are around you understand what your goal is, and that's to win ball games. And when my goal was set, spring training, and then transfer it right into the opening day, and most of the times the season started April the 10th. Not April 1st. And I still have 5-6 starts in April, and that's when you got to start winning. And I think that's when ball clubs understand that, hey, if you're going to win 20 games, you got to start right away. As soon as the season opens up, you got to start winning.
Bringing you back to your pitching days, and Gibson was out there, and Drysdale, and Koufax, and all those guys were pitching inside a lot. The man was a little bit higher, but they always pitched inside and brushing guys back. I don't really see that in baseball today. What do you think about that?
Well, the game has changed in that respect. The guys still pitch a little bit inside, but we were able to knock guys off the plate, and we didn't get chastised for it. You do it once, twice, now you're out of the ball game. But the number one thing that we try to do is pitch hard in to set up away, because neither player can have both sides of the plate. So you have to understand that when you're out there working, you have to understand that you got to pitch to your strength. And this is what I try to do every time I went out there to pitch.
Playing for Chicago Cubs, being traded from the Philadelphia Phillies over to the Cubs, pitching in Wrigley Field, mostly day games down in Wrigley Field. A lot of home runs were hit in Wrigley Field. A beautiful place. One of, I think, 2 or 3 standing ballparks left besides Fenway Park and Wrigley Field with the ivy and all growing down there. Pitching in the daytime, how rough was that in August and September?
Well, it was warm from time to time during the summer months, and early in the year, like April, the wind would blow in or across, and then after May, it blew out most of the time because the currents coming off Lake Michigan, the wind generally blew out, and you just had to safeguard yourself from time to time. Couldn't change your approach to hitters, but you had a game plan, what you tried to do to certain power hitters that would come in, guys like Mays, McCovey, Bench, Perez, Dick Allen. There were so many guys that you had to understand how to pitch them. If you didn't, unfortunately, they hit the balls on Sheffield or Waveland Avenue on you.
That's why your 20-game streak for 6 consecutive seasons is unbelievable, because you had to pitch in Wrigley Field, which is a home run place when the ball is blowing out there. I remember games 22-21 with the Phillies and the Cubs, and both teams scoring 20 is an amazing feat. And that's what's most impressive to me about you winning 20 games 6 years in a row, because you pitched in Wrigley Field in the daytime, sweltering heat, and still did a marvelous job for the Cubs. From the American League to the National League, because I know you got to go back and sign it, which was the tougher of the 2 leagues of pitching?
Well, the National League, because you had to go to the plate and hit. You had to base run from time to time, and I got quite a few hits as a pitcher. But what was nice about pitching in Wrigley Field, day games. People don't really understand that. I got up in the mornings, and I was a morning person. Had breakfast with my kids, went to the park, and if I had a competitor like a Gibson or a Drysdale or
Marichal.
Carlton, Marichal, those games are going to be an hour and 30 minutes, quick. So what I had to do is be as tough on my side of the board as Marichal or Gibson or Perry or whoever, Drysdale. And I had to pitch equally as well against that ball club. So I knew I had to have my act together every time I went out there.
Ace versus ace most of the time in baseball. I'm so happy to meet with you in person because you've been on our show so many times and done us so many favors. Ferguson Jenkins has his own foundation, and I know you got to get back there, but just for a minute or so, tell us about your foundation, please.
Well, I started the foundation in '95 in Canada, in St. Catharines, Ontario, and we now have 3 golf outings. 2 in Ontario and 1 in the Phoenix area, and you can go online and see what we're doing by just tabbing into your computer www.fergiejenkins.ca and see exactly what it's all about. And over the last almost 14 years, we've raised close to $4 million for different charities, from Cancer Society, Make-A-Wish, Boys and Girls Clubs, the CNIB, because my mother was blind, and juvenile diabetes. So it's been a lot of fun.
And it's a great thing that you've been doing. I know you have other athletes to travel around with you when you do that. And just giving back, it's a great thing to do. And Ferguson Jenkins does that. He gives back. And thank you for giving us this interview. It's always been a pleasure, Ferguson.
Pleasure, Artie.
Thank you, Fergie. It's been great, man.